Okay, we should be live. I always like to double check my YouTube page.
That's funny because I was doing the same thing.
Yeah. Refresh it. All right, there we go. Good. That's not what I meant to do. Oh, I lost Ma. Good morning, everyone. I have lost Mama Mouse. She will be here momentarily. I promise. She was clicking buttons, is my guess. And if she's listening to me right now, she's probably cracking up laughing. So, this morning we are going to, there we go. Were you pressing buttons?
I was closing all my extra windows because that's just like a stupid pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not even going to say a word. I'm just, whatever.
All the buttons.
Right. Okay, go ahead. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt your...
Oh, you're fine. All right. So, this morning, good morning, Russ. So this morning we are going to be talking about, this is something new that we started. This is a book club. This is open to anybody who wants to come and join us. Shoot us the message, and you can pick right up. It's not very hard. We're going to start with when Mama came to me with this idea. She said, "What book do you want to do?" And I said, "Okay, let me think about that one," because there's 100 books that I probably could have easily thought of. But when it came down to the nitty gritty, what was fresh in my mind was the TV show Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch, and I had just watched Doctor Strange, so he was fresh in my mind. And then Tracy Glenn, Kenzie's dad, did the Sherlock TV show with Benedict Cumberbatch, and he did an episode of that, and we did a discussion on his channel, and so everything was just fresh in my head. And so I'm not going to ramble. I'm just going to say briefly, Sherlock Holmes, this is what popped in my head. So let's start from the beginning, and we'll just go from there. So we're going to start with a study in pink. I definitely put a study in pink on my banner. That's the Benedict Cumberbatch episode.
Oh, that is awesome.
I'm going to, wow, 40 and Slick. That's what I was thinking of. A study in Scarlet.
Yes.
Not a study in pink.
Not a study in pink. Scarlet is a shade of pink, though, is it not?
I think.
A shade of red?
I think it's a shade of red. And pink is a shade of red, too. So, I mean, it's
going to be a long morning.
two shades of red, or 2 shades of Sherlock, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something witty. All right. Anyways, so where's Russ? If he's still here, so you're laughing at us.
Right.
Russ said he read this years ago, but doesn't remember any of it. Oh, Russ, you're going to get a refresher.
Yeah.
Going to get a refresher.
It'll be good.
It's going to be good. Okay. All right. A little background on this book. It was, excuse me, it's a detective novel written by Arthur Conan Doyle in 1887, which seems like a century ago because it was. And it's just it's a classic. I was going to say it's an American classic. It's not an American classic. It's just a classic because it is based in the United Kingdom. Publisher was Ward, Lock and Company. And that's basically the nitty-gritty details of it. If you don't know who Sherlock Holmes is, oh man, you're missing out. Good morning, Does Our Dream. I'm assuming it's Ange, but it could be Jeff.
I think it's Jeff because there's no emojis.
Oh, that's right, there's no emojis. That's how we tell the difference between the females and the males in the dual accounts.
Russ, that's a few years before Jeff was born.
Burn. Okay, yep, this is Jeff. I don't read. Is there a cartoon version? You know what? I don't know. But you know what? There's like many adaptations. I don't know if they ever made a cartoon version of it because cartoons are generally associated with kids, and this really isn't a kids thing.
Right.
I mean, but I guess adults watch cartoons too, so it could be. But no, as of right now, I don't see one. But go check Wikipedia because I might be wrong. I didn't read the whole thing. So we have characters here. We have a first chapter. We have 2 different versions that Mama and I have read and just found this out about 10 minutes ago.
That's no
So,
lie.
this is going to be interesting. So I just thought Sherlock Holmes. First I want to say Sherlock Holmes I was first introduced to in 1992 when I was 9, and it was a video game, a computer game, I should say, and it was called The Case of the Serrated Knife. And I was hooked on this game, and I still go back. YouTube, you can watch the rundown of it on YouTube. You can download, if you download like a DOS emulator, you can download the game. It's a classic, it's a great game, and it's a lot of fun. So that's my background with Sherlock Holmes. Mama.
Yes.
Mama's going to be right back.
Can you guys hear Star Trek in the background?
I heard a little bit of like a whiff of something, but
Sorry.
I wasn't sure what it was. It wasn't bothering me or anything. Just
I have a Star Trek addiction during the week, but I'm just a Wars fan.
Oh, it's better than soap operas, isn't it?
Oh yes. Oh yes. I don't need a soap opera. I just got to look in the mirror. It's all good. It's all good.
Oh gosh. All right. Let's get started. Mama had what was it? The preface or what did you call it?
I did. I called it the preface, I guess is the right way to pronounce it.
Okay.
So yeah, mine. Okay. I had this pretty picture. So there you go, Jeff. There's your picture. Nice. Mine started out with, what did they call it? Life and Times. Okay. And it talks about how Sherlock Holmes became a character. Sorry. About how Sherlock Holmes became a character, which I thought was incredibly interesting. I don't know a lot about the English history, but I don't know. It was kind of cool. Do you want me to like jump into that, or do you want to start?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So the author is not my kid. The author is Conan Doyle, and he is from Scotland. So our friends from over the pond should be here. I bet they're like super full of information about the author. So let's see, what does it say? I did not know he published 9 Sherlock Holmes books, 4 novels, and 5 collections of short stories. I didn't know there were short stories. And then he actually decided to kill off Sherlock Holmes. Did you know this?
No.
Yeah, he decided to kill off Sherlock Holmes in 1894. That was about the year Jeff was born. And in an episode called The Final Problem. Then his fans absolutely had a fit and wanted him brought back. So he brought him back in the book, The Return of Sherlock Holmes.
That's interesting.
I thought that was super interesting. So Doyle's life was very traumatic. A number of his family members died, including his wife and his son. And they were killed 12 years apart. And then there was also the horror of World War I, which carries over into the novel, which is interesting, I thought. So Sherlock Holmes himself, the character Sherlock Holmes, was actually based off of a real person. The name is, I'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah, I'll get to that in a little bit. But anyway, that was back in the era where Jack the Ripper and the Whitehall murders took place in England. Now, I know of Jack the Ripper, but I don't know anything about the Whitehall murders. I'd have to go back and research that. But it was in the newspapers a lot. And people suggested that he write his novel based upon those types of events that occurred in England, and he said no. He does not want to cross the line between fact and fiction at all. So none of his stories supposedly took place around real life events.
Right.
Let's see. I highlighted physicians, chemists, and biologists had shown the world how it operates on a strict scientific rules and laws. So you'll find throughout the book that Sherlock Holmes is very defined. I don't know. Is that like a word that you would? What word would you use to describe?
That's a good word. I think. I also think. I don't know. I guess I would use rigid.
Yes. Okay. So I wrote. Okay. So I have all my highlights of my book, and then I wrote like little notes, and on here, I put monk.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes.
So I'm like, he's like monk, like totally I don't know. I thought it was very interesting. So, oh, snacks. What is happening right now? Okay. Let's see. Here it is. The greatest part of Holmes was based off of a Professor Joseph Bell. He's a Scottish university lecturer and a foreign pathologist.
Interesting.
So, yes, very interesting. This was also in the time where the book of evolution came out. But Dole was raised as Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And so he, at this point, started pulling away from his Catholicism and went to more of a scientific approach, which is a lot like Sherlock Holmes, I think. I think his character is very... this can be proved through science, so to speak.
Very precise. Yeah.
So the term Occam's, OCCAM''S. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll go with that. That works.
Razor is sometimes applied to Holmes' method because it explains things by reducing or raising, as in razor, options to the assumptions and conclusions can be made with a reasonable level of accuracy and confidence. So there you go. That's how he solves his mystery. Let's see. What else? A notable characteristic of Sherlock Holmes is the way, is his dressing in disguise. So this is kind of where this was the forerunner to undercover police work, where detectives took on the role of something in order to observe what was really going on and then catch the bad guys, so to speak. Yes. So A Study in Scarlet, this novel, was the very story that introduced the world to Sherlock Holmes before the character became an institution, and also to Dr. Watson and Inspector Lestrade. And that's who I was talking about earlier. That's who I thought was, anyway. So yeah, no, you were right though. Okay. Anyway, this novel set the blueprint for the rest of the Holmes stories. So obviously this is definitely the one that we want to start with. So, and at this point, we think that we were both reading the same book. My book had all that in it, and hers did not. And can I say, this is the first novel that I would ever have read on a tablet and not on turning pages. So this is a new step in technology for me. I can no longer be a boomer like some people. So
I have to say, I prefer hardcover books over paperback or digital any day. If I didn't get the free version, I probably would have went on Amazon and purchased if they had a hardcover or even a paperback. But
I didn't see the free version, so that's why.
I should have clued you in on which one. But you know what? I'm glad I didn't, because I know you paid for it, but you got the extra the preface or the introduction or the whatever. Again, I keep forgetting the phrase that you used that it was called.
Very good.
But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed that. A lot of that stuff I didn't know, so I think that was really good. I enjoyed it. So, all right, so let's attempt to dive into chapter 1. Sound good?
Yep.
So chapter 1 starts off with, the title is Mr. Sherlock Holmes, and it starts off with Dr. Watson, and he's telling the story, and it starts in the year 1878. He's a doctor. He took his doctor of medical medicine, University of London, and goes through these, talks about his background, talks about let's see, became a surgeon, and then he became an army surgeon, from my understanding. Yep. Okay. So he went to Netley to go through the course prescribed for surgeons in the army. So I'm thinking that he went to the army surgeon school, and because at least here I know that they'll pay for your. I have a friend that became a doctor. He's an army doctor, and the army paid for his education, but he had a contract where he had to serve so many years as an army doctor after that, post grad. So good morning, Amy. Welcome in. Yeah, Russ, you really should do this with us. Mama, you could have totally interrupted me to say that, because that would have been.
Absolutely not. No, I'm not going to interrupt you.
I'm
just trying to. I don't. Oh, never mind. There it is.
On the first page, the first chapter.
Okay. I'm like, wait, I don't have that part. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
So, basically, Watson, he gets injured. His buddy carries him back into the England lines, so he's safe in a safe zone. Takes him back. He ends up in London, and he falls into some hard times. He's got some issues going on. A bullet grazed his shoulder, I think it was. Mm-hmm. He was struck on the shoulder by a Giselle bullet, which shattered the bone and grazed the subclavian artery. That's always fun. I should have fallen into the hands of murderous Nazis. Had it not been for the devotion and courage shown by Murray, my orderly, who threw me across the pack horse and succeeded in bringing me to safety on the British lines. So that's how he gets back. He recovers. He obviously has some lasting injuries. And so in the midst of him deciding what he wants to do with his life, if he's going to retire to a countryside or he has to downgrade to a cheaper living quarters, he comes across his friend as he's sitting in the Criterion bar. Is that what we can call that? The Criterion bar? When turning around, I recognize young Stanford, so an old war buddy, who's got this friend that he works. Morning, Danny. Who he works with at the was it the university? I think it is. And so they get in a conversation. Seems legit. And the story continues. I'm gonna let Mama talk for a minute and take over, because I know she has some highlighted notes. Is there anything that you want to highlight?
Just that Dr. Watson did not have any family. So he didn't have kids, he didn't have a wife, he didn't have any family. And when the military booted him out, he went in to live in England and lived very lavishly. So he lived high end, he spent a lot of money until the money ran out. And at that point, he had to decide, am I going to change my lifestyle or am I going to move to this rural area? Mm-hmm. And he chose the latter of the two. Because he definitely didn't want to change his lovely lifestyle. And that's when he ran into Stamford at the bar and was introduced to his coworker, who happened to have been Dr. Sherlock Holmes, or Mr. Sherlock Holmes. I guess he's not a doctor, right?
Right.
Okay. So, so I put, this was incorrect, so I can't do that. I had some confusion on who was narrating the story in the beginning. So I have to look at some of my notes again. So, he refers to him as a fellow lodger, which I thought was hysterical. That phrase, fellow lodger. So it's not a roommate, it's going to be a fellow lodger. So it just cracked me up.
Very prim and proper.
Right, prim and proper.
Classy.
I did think that the detail of him talking about going to the entrance of the lab that Sherlock worked in was brilliantly done. I mean, I could physically see, smell the entire journey with the rock walls and the stairs and the archway. And it was beautifully done. I thought it was fantastic. So yes. So go ahead.
All right. So, Stanford takes Watson to this lab where Sherlock is. First, I think I wanted to highlight. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, wait. Yeah, I did. I highlighted this, and this was for a good reason. So in the book, he's talking about Holmes, Stamford, and Watson. God, Stamford and Watson are talking about Holmes, and he's like, I'm going to tell you about this buddy of mine you're going to go live with. Okay, so he says, if we don't get on, it will be easy to part company, I answered. It seems to me, Stamford, I added, looking at the heart of my companion, that you have some reason for watching your hands of this matter. Is this fellow temper or formidable, or what is it? Don't be mealy-mouthed. Mealy-mouthed? What in the world is that? About it. And he says, it's not easy to express the inexpressible. And I thought that was, dang it, I thought that was a kind of a fun thing. Holmes is a little too scientific for my taste. It approaches to cold-bloodedness. I could imagine him giving a friend a little pinch of the latest vegetable alkaloid. Yeah. Not out of maleficence, in other words, not viciously, you understand, but simply out of a spirit of inquiry. So, and even Sherlock later, I think, kind of leads him on that same impression. So when he's talking to him about his own faults.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and if you go a little bit further down, this is what I had, because this shows, I got, getting the visual of this from the actual episode of Sherlock, the show with Benedict Cumberbatch, because they put this in there, and I remember thinking, what the heck is he doing? But he was talking about, where he says, when it comes, but it may be pushed to excess. When it comes to beating the subjects in the dissecting rooms with a stick, it is certainly taking rather bizarre shape. And Watson says, beating the subjects? And Stanford says, yes, to verify how far bruises may be produced after death. I saw him at it with my own eyes. And like I just can't. I mean, talk about beating a dead horse, like beating a dead corpse. Like, oh my gosh. The visual, because I already had the visual in my head, but if I didn't already have a visual in my head, I would have probably, my jaw would have hit the floor, and I just would have been like, what? But that entire paragraph, that just section of the conversation is just like.
But then he goes and says, but don't take my word for it. Form your own opinion.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
After that, if you tell me that, and how do I get past that?
It's just insane. So Sorry. Okay, so now we're at the point where they are being introduced or led to the chemical laboratory, I guess.
I'm just reading what Russ said. In British society, a doctor is called Mr., hence the joke in Doctor Strange of Mr. Doctor. Oh, that's interesting. I did not catch on to that, Russ. I like that. That's funny. Mr. Okay, I like that. Yeah, there were a couple of references in the Avengers movies regarding Benedict's Sherlock days, like the Baker Street, the line that I think I said in Infinity War that Stark uses when he something about something the guy from Baker Street, but it's funnier and it's more Starky, so it's just hysterical.
Kind of making fun of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. Where it says Holmes is a bit of a psychopath when it comes to his investigations. He does anything and everything to understand what's going on. Yeah, one of the lines that actually in the TV show that Benedict uses is oh gosh, and I just threw away my Sherlock notes too from that episode from when we did Tracy's show. But it's he says, I'm a sociopath, don't get it right or don't confuse it or something like that. And that was one of my favorite lines, and I completely blanked on what exactly it was. But yeah, complete sociopath. Russ calls him psychopath. I guess that works. But because one of the forensics officers calls him a psychopath, he says sociopath. He corrects her. He's like, highly functional sociopath. That's what he says.
There you go.
And I love that. I love that line.
I think there's a very fine line, or there could be a very fine line between, for lack of better terms, crazy and a genius.
Right. Yeah.
So,
but at the same time, Holmes is, you'll come to find out, he is just completely in his own world. The world revolves around him, and he's, he's enveloped in, he's so immersed and enveloped in what he does, like he's almost like obsessive about it. Like he needs, this is what he needs to do in order for him to thrive. And so, yeah.
So in today's world, would he be considered autistic?
Could be on the spectrum.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
so possessive or obsessive.
Well, I think so. And I think sometimes, sometimes autism, some people can kind of look at it as like almost like a negative thing in some terms, like, but not at all.
No.
People who are on that spectrum, their intelligence is just like, my brain could never function that good, I think I'm, I fall behind on some things, intellect wise. But it's like, that's just the beauty of humanity, I think. And I think, something that I think we're gonna find out about Holmes is that at least there should be character development. He's not like, I've known sociopaths that are just horrible people, and Holmes is just kind of like, there is softness in there, and there is, behind the exterior wall of, the obsessive sociopathicness, words are hard. And you kind of get a breakdown of his character, especially as the books go on. But yeah, so I mean, he walks in. This is a lofty chamber lined and littered with countless bottles. This is what I think Mama was talking about a little bit as they were nearing the end of the passageways. More descriptiveness, and I do love the descriptiveness of this book. Broad, low tables were scattered about, which bristles with retorts, test tubes, and little Bunsen lamps. And I love when I was in chemistry class, I absolutely loved the Bunsen burners. I just love the word because it reminded me of Bunsen the Muppet, and I just it made me all feel
Wow.
warm and fuzzy. So
Okay.
yeah, little sidetrack note. There was only one student in the room. So when he's describing this, one student in the room, I'm gonna guess that Watson doesn't know that this is Holmes at this point. Is he saying this is a student? But he gives you the visual of, well, what's the age range of the student? Because growing up, I always imagined Sherlock maybe in like late 20s, early 30s to mid 30s, between 25 and 35 range. That's what I always surmise. So when he says student, I mean, you can be a student at any age, but my brain automatically goes to a young kid. Which, if that really is the case, I don't know if we ever know how old Sherlock Holmes is. For him to be, if he really is a student, and if he were a student, his brain would be really, really intelligible, like highly developed. They're kid geniuses, so I really shouldn't say that. I'm getting I'm getting beyond my comprehension of people. Okay, let's just continue the book. So, student in the room who was bending over a distant table, absorbed in his work. Absorbed. So there you go. The obsessive, absorbed. I like that description a lot. At the sound of our steps, he glanced around and sprang to his feet with a cry of pleasure. I found it. And I love that. I highlighted that because, he breaks from his work when he notices people are around. And to me, that signifies, maybe wanting acknowledgement of something that he's found. And he's looking, not negatively looking for it, but, wants to share it.
It's the whole demigod thing.
Yeah, that's right. So he shouted to my companion, running towards us with a test tube in his hand. So I'm getting this visual of him, running with his test tube. And so he goes on to discuss what he found. What did he find, Mama?
CSI moment for sure. He found the test that identifies if there was blood on a article of clothing or a piece of wood or whatever the case may be. So, and what it did is it went from, before this test was created, you either had to look at a microphone. Oh my God. You had to look in a, those things you look at.
Microscope?
Oh my God, a microscope. You had to look into a microscope to identify it, which could be hard when it's, a large item.
Right.
It could be blood, it could be mud, it could be, all these different things that appear to be of a brownish color when it's dried. But now there's a test to identify if it's going to be mud or anything other than blood. So, we definitely have a CSI thing going on. But
and I love how he goes on, to say, he lists like a bunch of the murders that have recently happened, and the criminals got off scot-free, because they didn't have this test to be able to identify, incriminating evidence. And I love this part. He says, he goes on to describe in quality detail how he does this, and I absolutely love that. Excuse me. Let's see. Where'd it go?
Russ has a kaleidoscope. Okay, yeah, I know how this could be. Yeah. Anyway.
Nice, Russ.
Moving on.
Yeah. So he's listing. Well, I'm trying to find it. Where?
It's not on the top of the next page, is it? Criminal cases are continually hinging upon that one point.
A man is suspected of crime months perhaps after it has been committed. His linen or clothes are examined, and brownish stains discovered upon them. Are they blood stains or are they mud stains? Right. So if you go further down, I think it's. Oh, I love this. His eyes fairly glittered as he spoke, and he put his hand over his heart and bowed as if just some applauding crowd conjured up by his imagination. Like, I was like,
Lost my earpiece.
this is a man who is proud of himself. He is, yeah, definitely has the pride factor in there. Rightly so.
His reaction to this would be mine to going back to Disney. The glitter in my eyes, the hand over my heart. Now, I probably wouldn't do the everyone, please applaud for me. But yes, that's the passion that he had. That visually described the passion that he had for what he does. So
right, yes, very passionate. And then Watson says, "You were to be congratulated." I remarked, considerably surprised at his enthusiasm because he's never met somebody like him that is so enthusiastic about something that he has done. I mean, and that's interesting. I mean, it says a lot, I think, because being a war doctor, you don't probably not seeing a lot of enthusiasm, obviously. I mean, you get the passion, to fight for your country, but you're in the battlefield, your life is on the line. I'm sure you're not very enthusiastic about, am I going to die today or am I not going to die today?
Right. Yay, blood.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm not surprised that Watson is surprised by Sherlock's enthusiasm.
It's almost like he fed into it, like he fed into Sherlock's self-absorbedness.
Yes.
So, like, you should be congratulated. I mean, just I don't know. Maybe that's why they make such a good pair. I found it interesting because, of course, Sherlock Holmes pricks himself and does the experiment right there for them to see how it worked. Mm-hmm. And then it said he took a small piece of plaster and put it over the prick on his finger. Dude, do they not have Band-Aids back then?
When I read that, I was like,
right?
Something. I mean, you're in a lab. You'd think you'd be able, a piece of gauze. I mean, cotton ball.
I don't know. I just thought it was like, wow, plaster. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was funny.
At least. But then he goes on to say, there it is. He lists the cases, the case of von Bischoff, however you say it. At Frankfurt last year, he would certainly have been hung had this test had been in existence. And he goes on and he lists all the other, the people that got off. And I love this because Watson says, "You seem to be a walking calendar of crime." I love that line so much. Stanford said that with a laugh. Okay, it wasn't Watson, but it was still a good line. I enjoyed that. And so, very interesting reading. It might be made too. Remarked Sherlock Holmes, sticking a small piece of plaster over the prick of his finger. "I have to be careful," he continued, turning to me with a smile, "for I dabble with poisons a good deal." He held out his hand as he spoke, and I noticed that it was all muddled, and I had to look up this word, and download the dictionary for it. Muddled, marked with spots or smears or color. Over with a similar piece of plaster and discolored with strong acid. So, the visuals, I mean, very descriptive, very, some little bit of cringy. But yeah,
cringy.
CSI moments all over the board here. Right. But so then they go into talking about why they came here. Stanford says he came here on business. And he says, my friend here wants to take diggings and lodgings. As you were complaining that you could get no one to go halves with you, I thought I had better bring you together. So Sherlock seemed delighted at the idea of having to share his rooms with me, says Watson, who's thinking that he's narrating. And then they talk about Beaker Street.
I love that they went on talking about, okay, these are the things that might annoy you that I do. Yes. So I just want to let you know up front. I mean, it's almost like, and I know this is like a huge stretch, but it reminded me, and I don't know why, but it reminded me of an episode of Friends, like where Joey is talking to a potential roommate, because he had a few throughout the series, about his flaws.
Mhm.
If, Joy was to have any flaws. Anyway, I don't know why it took me to the Friends episode, but it did. So that showed you how my brain works.
Comes full circle at Friends.
So, right.
Have a good day. He's got a meeting.
Russell, Jeff has a meeting? A meeting? Okay.
Isn't he leaving today?
Oh, it is Tuesday.
Yeah.
Is it today? Is it next Tuesday?
With an airplane, maybe?
Right? Or a castle? I don't know. Something like that. I did like the whole, because when you envision Sherlock Holmes, or when I envision Sherlock Holmes, I think of a trench coat, right? But I always see a pipe.
Yes.
And this is where he introduces the fact that he does smoke a pipe. And then, but Watson also smokes. See, I always smoke a ships myself. So it's like the ship pipe thing. I don't know. Anyway. Yes. Sorry. So I don't know. Anyway, it's that visual thing again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you? I'm so sorry.
No, you didn't. You're fine. I was enjoying that.
Holmes goes and admits his social dysfunction. Because he says, I get in the dumps at times and don't open my mouth for days on end.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't forget about it. But it's just as well for two fellows to know the worst of one another before they get together. So anyway, and then Watson goes to tell him, okay, so Sherlock's downfalls, the tobacco, he leaves chemicals out and about, and he occasionally does experiments. So you kind of like he's been known to do experiments on friends kind of thing. But then Watson says, I keep a bullpup. Is that like a real dog?
That's what I thought. I don't know, though. Maybe Russ knows.
Russ, is it a dog? And then he says, and I object to Rose because my nerves are shaken and I get up at all sorts of ungodly hours and I am extremely lazy. I have another.
I don't know what it is. If this isn't relatable, I don't know what is.
Right. Right. I have another set of vices when I'm well, but those are the principal ones at present. Oh, and does he really play the violin?
Watson,
I was curious about that too.
I thought so.
Okay.
Because I know in the show he has moments of where he needs to get a thought out and he'll break out the violin and he'll play. I have this faint memory of this, and now I'm going to go watch Sherlock Holmes after I get off the stream with you, because that's my brain is where my brain is right now. I'm going to go snack on my food and watch the second episode of Sherlock. But yeah, I think he plays violin because he says, "Do you include violin playing in your category of rouse?" Depends on the player. A well-played violin is a treat for the god. A badly played one.
Right? It's that unsaid silence.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think maybe that was to not offend in case he's a bad player. I don't know.
Hi, can you say hi to Mama? No. No. What a little brat.
What do you say? No?
Scooch. No.
Oh.
Just scooch today. Oh gosh. Of course he's gonna go play with my Harry Potter castle behind me because that's what he does, and he messes everything up. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Who needs a pet when you have a 5-year-old child?
Amen.
All right, so okay. No. There go all my diecast.
A bullpup was a type of army revolver.
Okay, all right. I wondered if it was a little bit different. So, and why is my chat not showing that? Okay, what are you doing, stomping the gate there at the bottom? I'm
looking at the chat on YouTube, not on StreamYard.
Yeah, that's what I should be doing. Stop.
So after confessing all of their quirks about them, they decide, okay, I think it's settled. That is if the rooms are agreeable to you. So they've decided, yes, we're going to live together. Now we just have to make sure that the place is good to go.
Yep. And so I love this because I know my brain automatically went to, Kenzie just moved into her apartment. And I just have this visual. I'm thinking of all of this. I'm thinking of her as she's moving in and when her roommate gets there. And I don't know why. I relate a lot of this stuff to current events that are going on. I know you related to the Joey thing from Friends. Well, go get here. Use the green.
So if I was to guess of a challenge the two of them would have living together, I see Sherlock as being a very clean, tidy person. But I see, oh God, Watson.
Yeah.
What is wrong with my brain? Well, I had to take a pain pill last night, so that's probably what's wrong with it. Watson, he says he's lazy. That tells me that he's very sloppy. So I'm wondering about the dynamic. And I don't know that I've ever watched a Sherlock Holmes movie.
Right.
The closest I got to Sherlock Holmes was Pink Panther. So, so I really am walking through the dark here and relying on the book to give me, all of this information. But anyway, that is something that I see being an issue between the two of them.
And, as if we're going by the book, I'm not going to mention anything about the show, but if we're going by the book, that would have been my first thought too, is, he must be really neat, neat and clean. But at the same time, I know that people with the high functioning sociopathiness, I'm just making up words all over the board today, also are a little messy as well. So, I mean,
right.
Could be hit or miss, I feel like too.
Laboratories are not always nice and tidy and everything's where it's kind of like my craft room. Oh, crazy. I did think there's a paragraph coming up that is like a pivotal moment in the book.
Go ahead. Which one?
It says, by the way, I think suddenly stopping and turning upon Stanford, how in, and I don't know what this word is, so we're going to say world, did he know that I had come from Afghanistan? My companion smiled and says, that's just his little particularity. He said, a good many people have wanted to know how he finds things out.
Yeah.
And I didn't pick up on the fact that he knew that he was from Afghanistan without him saying. But that's just kind of a Sherlock Holmes thing of. So I do kind of wonder, maybe that'll be said later in the story.
Right. And I think so, because I know in the show it is. I don't remember exactly. And it's, the show is loosely, the first episode of Sherlock is loosely based on this, but it's got all the main core points, but it might be a little bit different than the book. I don't know. We're going to find out. Because I haven't a clue. Yes, Jack? Oh, you broke. You broke Jack.
Hopefully not his head. Oh, his head. Oh, your earrings.
Yep, and I'm gonna guess that I just broke the other piece of it too. Oh, that's right. That's what super glue's for. Yeah, good.
Russ says in the films they portray Watson as the tidy one. Sherlock leaves things lying around. I think Sherlock is precise about where things are, but might not be tidy. Watson just doesn't care as much. Okay.
That's I like that. Yeah, I've seen one Sherlock movie, and it was the first one that they made with was it Robert Downey Jr. who played Sherlock, I think, and
like Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
He's so hot.
That's a thing for another day, but yeah.
I'm just saying. That's some serious eye candy right there.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Okay.
At all.
Sorry, let me throw you off there.
Yeah, all distraction goes out the window when we mentioned Robert
Right.
Downey Jr.
But I can see the little glimmer in your eye, like envisioning Robert Downey Jr. You're like,
yeah, well, the name just kind of spurs it on, and it's just like doughy-eyed teenager, and all of us comes out, I think. But yeah, so hey, Shelly, good morning.
hey, Shelly, just in time.
Just in time for us to be gawking over Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, dear God. Focus, Mama, says Russ.
Yeah, all that out the window. Because the good thing we're at the end of the book, because this is where I think we're losing things. Thank you. Because of Robert Downey Jr. And if he ever watches the stream, hi.
Oh my God. Wow.
It just went due south real fast.
The flirty Tina just came out.
Yeah.
Hi.
Like I said, and knows how awkward it was too. It's like I can be a cool cat when I'm just joking around with my friends, but if I'm ever flirting, and my husband can testify to this because I can't flirt to save my life, it's awkward as anything. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just funny. Yeah. So what's up? Okay, go put it on the baking sheet in the kitchen. You want to show? Okay, Josephine wants to show her latest creation.
Oh, wow, Josephine, that is cool.
Mama likes it. She said it's cool.
Absolutely. That is awesome.
She just woke up a little bit ago. She's still got the bedhead. But yeah, all right. So and that ends the first chapter. So I think maybe we'll talk about maybe doing 2 chapters. We'll do chapter 2 and chapter 3 next week, because I think the only reason why we made good time was because you went through that little preface thing and we did a little background on the book. So I think maybe 2 chapters next week will fill the hour. No, let's not use super glue, small child.
Mommy.
So yes, I will super glue it after. Okay. So next week, if anybody wants to join us, please feel free to come and join us. I mean,
there is a free version of the book.
Yes.
I didn't see it, so mine was like, I don't know, $1.99 or something ridiculous like that. So it wasn't much.
Yeah.
Or there's always the library.
That's true. The library. Or if you want to add it to your library collection, there's always Amazon. You can just order it. Like I kind of want to do right now. Which I still might do. So yeah, that's it. I want to not thank Dean at the Live Place because we're not on there yet with the show, but all the other shows we are on. And just a great shout out to him anyway, because he's an awesome guy and has a great website for all family friendly YouTubers. And Mama, what do you got? What do you have coming up?
I don't know. What is today? Tuesday. Tomorrow is Preserving the Magic. And I don't know after that other than oh yeah, I do. Tomorrow's Preserving the Magic. Thursday's Dreaming with the Mouse. Jeff is going to Florida today. Because he will be live from the parks on Thursday. So we'll get a good lesson out of that. And that's Thursday. Friday, I'm not sure. Saturday is Myers and the Mouse. And then Sunday is whatever I decide to do.
Awesome.
So,
and you? That's good. Lisa, welcome in. So tomorrow, 5 p.m., Wednesday, whateverness, we're going to do a stream down by the river, and going to attempt to take you to one of New York State's oldest churches, and we're going to go explore. And there goes my light. Thank you.
That was weird.
My son just did that. So I'm so graciously poorly lit up by the light of my huge computer monitor. And it's back. Never a dull moment in this house.
Nope, not so much.
And there it goes. Yeah, I'm gonna speed this up because it's like a rave up in here. So Wednesday, tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. And then Sunday, 2 p.m., Harry Potter and the Book of Shadows. Really, Tina? Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix discussion at 2 p.m. And for now, that's it. I think. Yeah, that's it. I just remember I had 3 streams. Hey, Mike. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike Wheeler.
No worries, Mike. Get all the sleep. Hashtag all the sleep. Because I know I need it. Okay, so that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to join us Tuesdays at 11 a.m., we're going to try to keep this consistent. We'll probably, hopefully, maybe rotate channels. We'll see what goes on if anybody else wants to join us. That's about it. So I hope you have a great week. Enjoy your Tuesday. Don't forget, watch all the streams tonight because there's a lot of them on. Disney World Freak at 4, Zippity Doo Dah at 6:30, More Sunshine Please, Jim at 7:30, and Mouse Talk at 8, Viper Project at 9, and all the shows. Hashtag.
Wow. A night of YouTube for sure.
Definitely. Every night is my favorite night because of you guys. I have to say this. When I would be asked in the past, what's your favorite day of the week? Now I probably couldn't choose because it's, at first it was probably Friday because Resort TV won, but then I met all of you, and now it's every day of the week. So thanks, guys.
Right. Absolutely.
Pew pew. Sorry. Okay, I had to get one little pew pew in. So, all right. Have a great week. I'll see you guys later, and stay wonderful and amazing. And I'm trying to think of a tagline, so I've come up with I'll see you from be on the second star to the right and straight on till morning. But I need to figure out how to word it. So
yeah, there you go.
All right, that's what I want to go with. My tagline.
Okay.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a great week. I'm gonna